Now I'm gonna do something pretty fun, which is to release a new version of the app to users. So basically, I'm gonna pretend that we're pretty happy with what we have seen in the staging app. Uh, this is the staging app that the service that we created before. Remember, it was tilde minus staging, and right now it's on version 90.75 of the development version. But if we go to the release app, you can see that it's behind, so it's 68. Right? So what we want is for the release app to be exactly at the same point where the main branch is, right? So we need to move the release branch to main. So another view of that difference could be through the git log. So here I am in tilde web tool. I'm gonna make sure that I have the latest changes on from GitHub. Yeah, I'm up to date. So let's do a git log with like a difference between say main and release. I'm gonna do like the commit before release. Actually no, that's what I want is git log between release, one before release and main. That should work. So at the very top you see main. So here, and if I scroll down, you see all the commits that are on top of release, right? So what we want to move release to main. Okay, that's fairly easy to do. But before I do that, actually, let me see if I have. So I've been tagging releases or development releases. And I don't have that here on main, so I would like to do that first. You can do it very easily with Fledge, which is great. So we're gonna bump the version. It's gonna pop up the news file in our package. It's gonna pre-populate it with all the commit messages from there. I'm not gonna focus too much, or maybe yes. So let me pause the video, clean this up a little bit, and come back to you in a moment. Okay, I've just published what has changed from the latest release to the one that I'm about to do. I mean, this is a pre-release, really, a developer-facing release only, but still, I like to leave things documented there. I'm using Fledge. I already published news, so I'm gonna run the command that automatically appears on the console after calling bump version, which is finalized version with push equals true. That will tag the commit and push all of that to GitHub. It's very nice how much work kind of automates for us. If I do a pull, you can see in a moment that there is a new tag here at the top, so 076. So we could push this already to main, and that will eventually update the staging version of our app. So now it's 75, and when Google Cloud Run finishes doing its thing, it should point to 76. But another thing we want to do, actually what I should do is probably kind of close this up so that before I do that, I wanted to highlight that that the app on release, on production, is behind staging, and we are about to put them in sync on the same commit. So I'm closing the app so that the Google Cloud Run, when I start, when I visit that URL again, it starts a new, it calls basically app.r again, and it gets the chance to install the latest version of tilde web tool from GitHub. Where were we here? Let's go back to our studio. I already tagged the main branch, but release is still behind. I think I showed that before. So what we want to do is I'm gonna move the release branch here. So we can do git rebase main release to kind of bring that branch here. It has successfully moved here. So if I do a git log, you can see that both main and release are both pointing on the same commit right now. This one here, right? So I can now push the branch release so that I trigger the so basically so that the production app exposes that commit. So what we expect to see is that both the release and main apps both show that they are in this 9076 version of the kind of developer-facing release. Okay, I'm gonna wait a little bit so that Google Cloud Run does its magic and come back to the video to show that effectively the apps are now both synchronized, and also after having done the push here, I can just go back to my main branch and make sure also that I push that one too. All right, see you in a moment. Here I am in the page for triggers, the cloud build triggers. I think it's a good page to show because, for example, right now I've been waiting for, basically with the configuration I have, I think what's going on is this. This Google Cloud Run has to shut down every computer, so it has to detect not like inactivity for the timeout, whatever has been set for the timeout, to close every single instance, right? Before the changes that I push to release are manifested. And the reason is because the way I configured it is looking to, so it's gonna run pack install from the Tilt Web Tool repo, both on main and release. But when the file app.r runs on the repository Tilt Web Tool data, right? So it's a little bit complicated in the way kind of I built it, but the point is that if I have many users, maybe there is never a time when all the computers on Google Cloud Run kind of shut down, so that a new computer is started and that file is run again and installed again the latest version. So one thing we can do is basically to go back. So I have to just refresh to see if it's still in the older version. So one thing we can do is go to the page where there are the builds and just hit on run for the like manually run the trigger. Even if the event that would otherwise automatically run the trigger didn't happen, we can force it manually. So I did just that for tilt staging, and I'm gonna do it now for production. So with that, I would expect to be able to visit. I would like to visit now Cloud Run and see what's being built right now. These two services seem to not have changed here, but if I go, so the build history, I would expect something to show progress. There you go. So this thing was built last earlier today, a few minutes before, but now it's being built again, right? I think that is, when this is complete, that is what's gonna accomplish what I wanted to accomplish today, which is the idea of updating the app for the users and staging too. Which again, it could happen automatically if I give the opportunity for every instance to close down to 0, and then whenever someone visits the app again, that cold start will force the installation of the latest version of the package. So maybe the configuration is a little not suboptimal. I probably need to study that a little bit more, but for now seems to be like a pretty simple way of doing it. So I'm gonna also kind of looking forward to hearing what other people are doing and seeing if I can do something that is like that kind of can improve my workflow in a relatively simple and cheap way. Okay, so we have that workflow for, let me see, that was for okay, so that's Tilt, so that's the production app. And if I go one step back, I wanted to click on my other service on the staging one here and see that there's also something happening. If I go to build history, okay, there is also something happening. So, okay, it did work as I expected. We have the chance to click on basically to force the trigger that would otherwise run automatically. I'm gonna post the video and come back when the apps did actually update, and then call it done. All right, I'm now back to the page for cloud builds. I think this page is kind of nicer. It shows all the builds. It's a different view. So I see that my tilt and tilt staging are both now complete. So I think I could trigger name. Yeah, I should be able to refresh this, and I hope that this 75 changes to 76. There you go, nice. And now here, this was so Tilt was the production app, which was at 68. So if I refresh, I would expect it to go to 76. And there you go, perfect. So now both apps are the same commit. And here I need the password from here. I'm gonna paste it there and here too. So both apps should look the same, and they do. All right, with that, I show you the process of releasing a new app to production.